Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial, I will show you exactly how I create realistic eyes and lifelike skin textures in my charcoal portrait drawings. If you are new here and want more in-depth portrait drawing tutorials, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Now let's get started. Step 1 is building the eyes. I have already completed my outline sketch, so the first thing I'm going to do is strengthen the lines around the eyes using a medium charcoal pencil. At this stage, keep your strokes light and controlled. Next, I will lightly sketch in the eyebrow structure and begin adding some basic shading to the iris and pupil. The goal here isn't to make everything dark immediately, it's simply to establish the foundation. One common mistake artists make is going too dark too early. Building values gradually gives you more control and creates a more realistic result. Step 2. Blending and layering. Now I'll use a small brush to gently blend the charcoal. Once blended, I'll go back over the same areas with my medium charcoal pencil and blend again. This layering process helps create smooth transitions and depth. Notice how each layer becomes slightly darker than the previous one, rather than forcing the darkness all at once. I'm gradually building up the values. This is especially important around the pupil and iris because strong contrast is what makes the eyes appear alive and realistic. Highlights and deep shadows are key elements in creating lifelike eyes. You can also use the leftover charcoal residue on your brush to softly shade nearby areas. It's a great way to create smooth tonal transition without applying additional charcoal. After all that, I will switch to a fluffy brush to further soften and unify the shading. Step 3. Creating eye structure and depth. Next, I will shade the eyelids using a hard charcoal pencil. Hard charcoal pencil is perfect for adding subtle texture while maintaining control. I will partially blend these marks with a small brush, allowing some textures to remain visible. Remember, realism isn't about making everything perfectly smooth. Leaving subtle texture helps create a more natural appearance. To increase contrast, I will apply charcoal powder to the darkest parts or the darkest areas around the eye. Pay close attention to where your light source is coming from. Understanding light and shadow is one of the biggest factors in making portraits feel three-dimensional. Step 4. Adding highlights. Now it's time to bring the eye to life. Using a mono zero eraser, I will carefully lift highlights where the light naturally hits the eye. Highlights should be placed intentionally, not randomly. Think about where the light is striking the surface. For the brightest reflections, I will use an electric eraser. These small highlights create that glossy, realistic appearance that makes eyes stand out. Precision erasers are excellent tools for creating sharp highlights in portrait work. Step 5. Drawing the eyelashes. With a soft charcoal pencil, I will begin drawing the lashes. Watch closely as I flick the pencil upward using quick, confident strokes. Avoid drawing every lash with the same length or direction. Natural variation creates a much more realistic result. At this point, the eye is really starting to come together. Let me know in the comments which part of drawing realistic eyes do you find the most challenging. Creating realistic skin texture. Now let's move on to the skin. Many artists struggle with skin texture because they either overdo it or make it too smooth. The key is finding the balance. Now step 6. Establishing texture. To begin, I'm using a hard charcoal pencil to create small, random dots across the skin surface. These marks will eventually help stimulate pores and natural skin texture. After applying the dots, I will lightly blend them with a soft brush. Realistic skin texture is often suggested rather than fully drawn. Small marks, and subtle variations are usually more effective than trying to draw every pore individually. Following the flow of the skin. Next, I will use my hard charcoal pencil to create rough directional lines that follow the natural contours and movement of the skin. Think of these lines as helping describe the form underneath the surface. Once the marks are in place, I will gently blend them with a brush. This creates soft texture while preserving the illusion of skin. Step 7. Building skin layers. Now I'll begin applying multiple layers of charcoal powder using my round brush. Layering is one of the most effective ways to create depth and realism in portrait drawing. Instead of trying to achieve the final look in one press, build your values gradually. This gives the skin a more natural appearance and prevents it from looking flat. Step 8. Drawing the eyebrow. At this stage, I will return to the eyebrow using my soft charcoal pencil. Watch carefully how I vary the direction, thickness, and pressure of each stroke. Rather than drawing individual hairs mechanically, think in grooves and flow patterns. This creates a fuller and more realistic eyebrow. Step 9. Skin and highlights. Now I'll use my mono zero eraser to dab highlights into the skin. This technique helps create subtle variation in texture and tone. For stronger highlights, I will switch to the electric eraser. These brighter accents help mimic the way light reflects off natural skin, adding realism and dimension. Finally, I will use my pencil eraser to lift highlights across the remaining areas of the portrait. This combination of dark values, midtones, and highlights is what creates convincing skin texture. Step 10. Adding fine facial hairs. To finish this section, I will use my soft charcoal pencil to add the tiny hairs on the forehead. This is actually much easier than it looks. Use light pressure and quick directional strokes. Small details like these can make a huge difference in the overall realism of the portrait. Now the final step is repeating the process. For the second eye, I will speed things up since it's essentially the same process repeated. As you watch, pay attention to the order of the steps. First, you build the structure. Second, you layer the values. Third, you blend carefully and increase contrast. Add highlights and finish with details. Following a consistent workflows make portrait drawing much easier and more predictable. And that's how I create realistic eye and skin texture in my portrait drawings. If you found this tutorial helpful, leave a like and share with other artists who might benefit from this. And let me know in the comments, would you like me to use this same technique on a different portrait in my next tutorial? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Spend a lifetime searching for what we found back then, even if it didn't last forever. I'd do it all again, final chorus. Cause when I found your name, the colors in my world begin to change. The lonely parts of me found hope, the broken parts found faith. When I found your name, I learned that hearts can heal and hearts can break, that love can leave a mark so deep no time can wash away. And though you're not beside me now and everything would change, there will always be a piece of me back on that